Hello, so welcome back to this series. It's been a couple of months since I last played this save and uploaded a video, so there's a few things I need to kind of remind myself of as I'm bringing them to you in this video. The obvious place to start with transfers is we sold David for 26 million. Now that was a lot of money. I'm fairly sure I remember thinking at the time that was just money that we couldn't afford to turn down in the Championship. So we did that. Tanner, who I think was the backup goalkeeper, went for a couple of million to Everton, which when you see the fact now he's worth quite a lot more, that may have been an error. And then Damola Ajayi, who was the winger that could play anywhere across the front four, went off to Blackburn. Then a few others, Archer, Boyd, McElroy, then names that don't particularly ring many bells, so I'm not sure that they were huge losses. Someone who was Mola, someone who'd been with us since the start of the save, but his ability had started to drop off, so he went to TP Mazembe, and we also let Kerr Smith go to Celtic, who featured fairly regularly for us in previous seasons. With some money to spend, we didn't really spend much of it. I think a large part of that was because the club was in quite a bit of debt. But Carlos Alcaron is an Argentinian goalkeeper who's come in from Lanús. Kyan Coke Miles Smith on a free from Hatta, who are a club in the UAE. 120,000, 25, looks like he can play on either wing. Alejandro Ramirez from Arsenal on a free, again either right-sided or a striker. A few more frees. Vasconcelos. That's going to take me a while to learn. Vasconcelos has actually already got quite a bit of value on a free from Penafiel, who are a Portuguese third division team. Kylon Purdy, a right-sided defender who was a free agent, and Seth Ridgen as an emergency backup holding midfielder, and then Cesar Alston has come in on loan from Everton. If I take you to the team, this is a bit of a reminder for me as well. This is how we started. So Alston is playing at right back. Byfield and Feeney we've kept as we did with Edwards. Devine's been with us for a long time. Leonard Carl was obviously the quite shock signing from a couple of seasons ago. He's developing nicely in the midfield. And Ali McCann, who lost his place but has regained it this season. Then we've got Seb Ferdinand on the right wing, Divine Mukasa on the left wing, and then Jared Roberts up front. So that's the team as it is at the moment. We've still got Okonkwo in goal. Alcaron hopefully will challenge for that place relatively soon. Albert Purdy, Aluko, Beardmore's been at the club a while. Oriulia, a defensive midfielder from Colombia with a bit of potential. Waywell and Miles. So that's how we're looking. It's a squad that's got quite a bit of potential. Obviously, it stands out that we could have done with a left back in that window, but we didn't get one to play back up to Edwards. But Alcaston being able to play both sides, hopefully, and Aluko can, I guess, play at left back as well, which resolves some of that. As for how the season started, we are currently second. We have won 3 and drawn 2, so unbeaten through the first 5, including some really good wins against some of the better teams. Bit disappointing to be knocked out to Birmingham in the League Cup first round, but after a really good pre-season, Luton, West Brom and Palace, particularly the 4-0 win at Palace, who you would imagine being a former Premier League side would be one of the better teams this season, suggests that we're not in a bad place to challenge at the top of the Championship. So that's where we are at the start of this season. I'll be back with an update at the end of January. Hello, welcome back to this end of the winter window update. As you can see from the table, things are looking reasonably good. We're challenging. It's really tight at the top of the Championship. 4 teams all within a point, of which we are currently 4th on goal difference from Charlton, but actually our goal difference is better than the 2 teams that are top. So definitely a good first half of the season. If I take you to the transfer history to show you the moves that I have made, or sort them by date. Micho Ohori has come in from Hiroshima. Lots of potential, can play either as a holding midfielder or as an attacking midfielder. So he has featured a few times, but it's definitely more so one for the future. Come off the bench 3 times so far. Kuryu Matsuki, another Japanese player, one who is very much coming in as a reserve. We were able to get him fairly cheaply on an end of contract that we then made permanent for, I think it was about 100,000 or a couple 100,000. Or 225,000. So a good player to sit as a backup, but he hasn't featured yet. One of the biggest signings so far, Jair Reels from Atlético Nacional, a Colombian left back. He is in and playing regularly, hasn't started brilliantly, but is playing regularly and has picked up an assist in his 6 games. On the other side, a right back, Lorenz Assignon, from Togo, a right back that we picked up from Coventry for only 95,000, which, as he is someone that's gone straight into the team, he did pick up an injury. I think that was a pretty good move. And then another right back, Moises Mubunga, lots and lots of potentials coming on loan from Sporting. He is currently the backup, but did feature in the game that Assignon didn't feature in. And then as for outgoings, again, I'll sort it by date. We started with João Vasconcelos to Hull on loan. That might be one they make permanent, but we'll make the decision at the end of the season depending on how he develops. Jacob Kelly, a young player on loan to Buxton, as is Deji Ondumboni. He's been out on quite a few loans. And then I took the decision to let Ali McCann go. He is 33. He was playing regularly, but we had a few players, Beardmore being one that can come in and take that position, who's a little bit younger and with a lot more potential. So that's the moves that we made. If I take you to the starting 11, it's still a Concours in goal. You'll see the 2 new fullbacks. Byfield and Feeney are the centre-backs at the moment, but Abbott is definitely in contention for that position. And actually, if the form of either of those drop off, he will come in. Devine stays as the holding midfielder, but Beardmore has now come into midfield. I think Beardmore actually might be slightly more useful there. In fact, we may go with that moving forward. Beardmore a little bit deeper. And Devine the one further forward, with still Leonard Carl playing in the more attacking position. And then Ferdinand on the right, Miles on the left, and Roberts up front. Miles has had a really good first half of the season. In fact, all the front 3 have done reasonably well. We've got a good amount of depth options on the bench now as well, including a couple of young players that might start to feature a little bit more as the season goes on. Mukasa, hopefully we can get him scoring, and then he can be a good replacement for this front 3 in any of those positions as well. So that's where we are. Hopefully the next time I update you will be in the Premier League, but we're certainly going to keep that push going, and I'll be back at the end of the season. Hello, so I bring you back into this with the playoff final looming. A little bit disappointing that we couldn't quite get across the line for promotion. We ended up, if I take you back to the previous stage here, the league stage, we ended up 2 points behind Oxford and also Middlesbrough because they slipped up on the final day. And those 2 points we finished behind Oxford. Again, if I can go back for you and show you the final day's table. Their win at Palace was enough. In fact, actually, it's probably better that I show you the fixture schedule, because you'll see at the end of this fixture schedule we drew 2-2 with Oxford after they scored a 96th minute equaliser, and it's effectively that has cost us promotion, although the defeat to Leicester the game before, who were near the bottom, is another large factor. Again, a win against Leicester or holding on to beat Oxford would have been enough to get promoted, but as it is, we didn't quite get there. What that means is that we are going into a playoff final, having overcome, I think it was West Brom quite comfortably in the 2-legged semi-final. Ahori has taken the place in that defensive midfield role, but his injury means Beardmore is going to come in, who is a suitable replacement, and Roberts on the final day of the season got sent off and is banned for 3 games, so he has missed the entire playoffs. And so Mukasa, having scored in the last game, will keep his place up front, and this is how we line up. Ridgen onto the bench as well. So, playoff final. Okay, so it's taken until almost half an hour, but we have our first highlight. It's been a very even game. Coventry definitely started better and had a couple of early chances, but we have come back and are now slightly more on top when you look at the stats. Leonard Cole coming deep, Assignon good to the ball from Musaka, and he has hit the post. So first real chance for us, and it's not quite ended up in the back of the net, but better for us to be creating chances, although I'm slightly concerned by the fact that Coventry have gone straight at the other end, but Byfield has sorted that out. So 0-0 after half an hour. Well, this highlight is continuing. Are we going to rue that early missed opportunity? No. That was a big chance of Coventry there. Hopefully we can regain a bit of control from here. Still going with this highlight. Going from one end to the other. Hopefully we're not going to give the ball away on the edge of our own box here. Hopefully we can create something through Carl again, dropping deep. This is such a long highlight. We've hit the post, they've got the other end and missed the chance, and it's now us. I think Carl was offside there. He certainly looked offside. He certainly looked offside again. Yeah, there we go. That's hopefully should resolve that highlight.
Senior singles.
Okay, Coventry back on top again. Although maybe this could be our highlight if we can work something from our own box. Lucas come wide and found Carl a little bit higher up the pitch, which is slightly more where we want him. Some nice play. I think Lucas is offside. Yeah, he was, but didn't take the chance anyway. Again, still a very even game as we come into this first highlight of the second half, and it's again Coventry with the ball, putting it into the box, us making a clearance, and then us taking the ball up into their final third. One change, Waywell has come on from Mukasa at half time, and Miles has done really well there to create a chance out of very little, but not been able to put it away. So statistically, very much on top. We've had over 1 XG to Coventry's 0.6, but this time it is Coventry on the ball. Although actually that's quite a good ball through, and there's a man free in the box. Hopefully we don't drop off too much. Another playoff final and another 1 goal deficit. I did just make 4 changes. Bunga on at right back, as well as changing the other 2 other front 3 that hadn't changed. So Ramirez and Cope-Miles-Smith are now up there with Waywell. We're going to have to find something. I'm somewhat pleased that we've gone straight into another highlight, because it suggests we might be able to build a bit of dominance here. Edwards down the wing. Back to Devine, Waywell. Again, hopefully we can create a few more opportunities like that as this second half goes on. 20 minutes left to try and win a place in the Premier League after disappointment on the final day. Again, Edwards is having some joy down that left-hand side. Beats his man and then beats him again to go back into Devine. Edwards out there again. Not really going anywhere. Beardmore, Edwards may have been offside there, and now he's giving the ball away. Hopefully we can win it here. And now this could be a problem because they are breaking. They've got a man through in the middle, and a second here would pretty much wrap it up. It's still on. Good save by Conquo from Dewsbury Hall. 20 minutes left, and as you can see from the stats, we're still, well, they've got obviously back on top now, having scored their goal. But we are running out of time a little bit here. Cole's not had a great game on the big stage at Wembley, so he may be a candidate to come off. I think this one might be slowly slipping away though. We'll take the short corner. Can we win it back and counter-attack? No, that's in fact a good save from a bit of a speculative shot. We need to find something here. Let's move to attacking. I think we'll also push the wing backs up in possession, and we'll also move Carl into that number 10 role to see if he can find something in the final moments of this game. But we are really starting to run out of options. I'm loath to take Carl off given how good of a player he is and that he could be the one that creates something, but I think really I probably should have done. We need to find something with 5 minutes left, or this is another disappointing end to a season where we really should have been promoted. think it might be chuck on another centre forward time. Let's normally put Byfield up there, and then we'll go with Raiola up front. The same out of possession as well. One last roll of the dice, but I think that is that. So another disappointment at Wembley, another failure to win promotion in the playoff final. Leonard Carr does want to leave as well, which I thought was likely to happen if we didn't win promotion. But that is going to be that for the episode. We've certainly got a bit of money to play with next season. Although we're in debt and we haven't got much transfer budget, so that's not ideal. Who knows? Hopefully we can do something for next season and try and earn our way up to the Premier League. But that's going to be it for the end of the episode. So welcome back to the series. I know it's been a while since my last upload, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back for the next episode.